Your pause, bro.
Intro going in raw. You are now watching J.U.K Sports Show. Hold up, wait a minute. What's going on here? Why is my
Yeah,
Sorry, y'all.
right. That sound like the oven going off. It's like the
Yeah.
cookies, Mrs. Fields, man.
But this show has been brought to you by Fitboxer,
Um,
and the show is J.U.K Sports Show. I am your co-host, Ralph King Ralph,
yeah.
King Ralph at KYNGRALPH, and I'm here with the co-host, my guy, my man Kai.
What's
What's
up?
happening?
I'm good. I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, we had a new time, baby. 7:00. We
Yeah.
will be 7:00 on Wednesdays going forward until for further notice, at least.
For the nose.
If
Yeah.
NBA season says otherwise, then we will be moving. But
Yeah.
I'm doing good. Started a new job today, so I'm feeling real good. Everybody loves ice cream. But
Nice.
like I said, this show has been brought to you by Fitboxer. So if you want to do any podcasts like what you're watching, music videos, photo shoots, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707 Fitboxer. Make sure you go ahead, you follow all the socials as well. I said mine on, Twitter. Add an underscore to what you see on the screen at KYNGRALPH underscore for Twitter. But on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, make sure at KYNGRALPH. We talked about NBA season is coming soon, but we got FIBA World Cup is about to start heating up. So if you want to see any unbiased breakdown analysis, go on Instagram, type in that search bar at @the.house of hoops.
Yeah.
Kai is gonna give it to you real
Straight.
raw.
Yeah.
Man. But going straight in, man. We finishing up. We getting close to the end on this NFL top players list. So what we got? We got at 40, Quinnen Williams. 39, we got Jamar Chase. 38, Khalil Mack. 37, we got Jason Kelsey. 36, Jalen Ramsey. 35, Christian McCaffrey. 34, CeeDee Lamb. 33, your boy Matthew Judon. 32, Justin Herbert. 31, Saquon. What are your thoughts?
I think this is now when I'm not saying nobody else is talented, but I think we're really starting to get into some of the more, I guess, like some of these stars of today, I guess you could say. Like the list is getting richer. I like all those players. I might shuffle a couple of people around. I'm looking at, a Saquon Barkley. I think that, once again, what is the criteria, right? I think we both know his talent level. I might knock him down some of those players and move some of those players up. I think Khalil Mack, he's underrated because he's no longer like the face of the defense like he was in the Raiders.
Yeah.
But now he's on the Chargers. But without him, the other defensive end, I think Bosa's job's not as easy. You mentioned Jamar Chase. I still think of Jamar Chase as a person who a team like the Chiefs has had the game plan against. You know what I'm saying? Like, he actually changed the whole entire dynamic of their game plan, like in years past, and he's still very, very productive. And we're talking about him as what some people argue potentially a top 5 receiver, but he's definitely in the top 10 receiver. Him, Justin Jefferson. You know what I'm saying? Jefferson's kind of ascended at this point, but I don't think that they're really that too far off. I'm a Jefferson guy. I don't know about you, but I'm a Jefferson guy. But I like those. I like the player names. But I think in terms of like shifting, I think it's kind of preferential at this point. But yeah, I like some of the players. I might change a couple of different people based off maybe durability or whatever. What about you, man?
I'm right with you, man, because I think that there are some players in these lists, and it's just the part where I think they're right about where they should be, maybe, or at least within the range. CeeDee Lamb, I'm not that big on CeeDee Lamb. I'm not gonna go. I know where a lot of it is kind of based on last season to a certain degree, mixed in with what their talent level is, availability, and all of that. But at the same time, it's like, how good are they in that moment? Where I think that some people get a little bit overrated and some people get a little bit underrated. We talked about Lamar. We talked about Dak. We talked about Joey Bosa. We talked about Trevor Lawrence. Now it's like you started getting in this range where like you're in the top 40 players. I don't have a problem with some of the people on the list, but it's just a matter of like Jamar Chase. Is CeeDee Lamb better than Jamar Chase? No. So to have him ranked higher is like crazy. Yeah. And then like this next group of 10 is just some people that I'm finna be like, nah, bro, they're just not better than the other people that I've already named. Okay. And so and I'll get into Justin Herbert when we start talking about a later topic. But next up, we got 30. My man Derwin James, Nick Chubb at 29, Dexter Lawrence, 28, TJ Watt, 27, Jair Alexander, 26, 25. We got Derrick Henry, your boy Roquan at 24, Sauce, the Sauce Gardner, 23, Nino, AJ Brown at 22, and Austin Eckler at 21. And I'm coming up by what I meant, what I previously stated. There's just no way in my mind that Austin Eckler is better than Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, and Derrick Henry. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey is the other one too. So there's no way. I don't care what stats he had. I don't care 100 receptions and this many yards. In no way, shape, or fashion am I taking him in a fantasy football over any of them. Am I taking him if I'm starting a franchise, am I taking him? It's just these are the conversations where we start to have where like I get Sauce. Sauce did what he did, but Jalen Ramsey, am I gonna take Sauce over Jalen Ramsey? I'm not, because of what Jalen Ramsey can do on the football field.
I like Jalen Ramsey, but I'm like, we were talking about just like availability or something. I can understand it, but I might not agree with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because Jalen Ramsey plays safety. He could line up in the slot. He could be in the box. Yeah. He could shut down the outside. So like I just like his versatility where I'm not taking Sauce just yet.
Right.
Roquan, I think Roquan is one of the premier linebackers in the league. Jair Alexander, I'm not upset with him being this high. I do have a problem with Sauce being over him as well. Dexter Lawrence had a heck of a year last year.
He had a huge year.
Yeah. And so I just really got issues with. I think I get it. It's year to year, but at the same time, like, is what they've done in the past not like relevant at all or nothing?
Right, consistency.
Or are we just gonna have a recency bias, and that's what these lists are, and that's where I stand on it. I don't really have too many big problems, but I think Sauce above a Jalen Ramsey or a Jair Alexander and Austin Eckler above those four that I mentioned, I just completely disagree with.
I actually like some of those takes that you mentioned, man, and I actually think you hit the nail on the coffin, so to speak, as they say. Recency bias. I kind of think the list the more we go through it, I do think it's kind of recency bias. But think about like the drop off that you'll see with a player from one year to the next. If he has like maybe like 10 less yards or something, you know what I'm saying? Or like back when Lamar had his MVP season, his next season went like horrendous, and then he like dropped off was dropping you off like 70 spots or something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you on that. And then there was someone who stood out to me. The Sauce stood out to me. Who was the first three that you named in that list real quick?
The first three on the list was Derwin James, Nick Chubb, and
both. Okay, Lawrence. You also named TJ, right?
TJ.
The last one I was going to say before you move on, TJ Watt, as a Ravens fan, we got to place him 2 times a year. The dude's impact is undeniable. Also, if you look at the stats, he's not on there for like the team and all that. Without TJ Watt, that defense suffers. It's insane. So when you start talking about game changers like Aaron Donald with TJ Watt, regardless if they got hurt or whatever, I always have to give them the respect just due. So I would actually put TJ Watt ahead of Roquan Smith, even though I believe Roquan Smith is like a top 2 backer at his position. TJ Watt's like a top 2 at his position. But Watt, I think his impact on the game is a little bit bigger. So outside that, I agree with everything you said, Rob. So
Yeah, I agree, man. I think it's I look forward to talking about the end of the list to next week.
boy.
Next up, man, the Ant-Man is established himself as the premier player on this team.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So with him leading the way, how confident are you in Team USA?
Great question. Great question. So I'm going to be brutally honest, etc., objective. I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10. 10 out of 10 means complete supreme confidence. I think 5 out of 10 you start to have some kind of questions, like you can go either way. Anything lower than that, horrible. I'm going 7 out of 10. Some notes that I took down from the games. They played recently, guys. It was against Greece. They went on an 18-0 fourth quarter run, and they showed that they could overcome adversity. Versus Greece, they went undefeated in exhibition play, so that looks good. There was questions, Ralph, about whether or not they had a superstar on the team. Well, they don't necessarily have a major superstar like a LeBron or Kevin Durant. I believe what they do have, Ralph, is an emerging superstar, and you mentioned it. And Anthony Edwards, I actually think that he's going to continue to emerge and make a name for himself if everything goes well in this tournament. And then you have a gritty guy like Austin Reeves, who's great at drawing fouls, who's proving he can play amongst other star players like a Jaren Jackson, like Anthony Edwards, like a Brennan. So I think that's key. You need someone who can complement. I think they have a good big guard in Tyrese Halliburton as well, which is what you need in international play. So I think they do have some talent. So I named all the pros. The reason why I give it a 7 and not higher is I talked to Tar before this show, just to see if I could get some of his analysis, because he's the practices and interviews as well. He asked Steve Nash. He said, "Who is your desired 5 in the center position?" He said, "Paolo Banchero." The reason why that's a problem is because he told me he's like, they lack size. Everyone's been talking about how much they lack size on this Team USA. When they played Greece, the reason why they were down was they were getting destroyed on the boards. Dennis Schroeder out-rebounded all their bigs, which is insane. He had 10 rebounds. They've been getting out-rebounded throughout the entire exhibition. All the bigs are international players. The USA doesn't really have any. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a Karl Anthony Towns. We don't have an Anthony Davis. We don't have a Zion Williamson, who's kind of undersized, but he can jump. And so the big guards are actually a problem if you go against a Luka or something. Looking at their group though, before I pass it to you, I actually don't have an issue with their group in terms of like talent-wise. Giannis is not there. I think that's going to be. They're playing Jordan in Group C. I think they can beat them, and they were playing New Zealand. It's just after that what's going to happen. So he really stresses like they don't have stops. And like the reason why they got down was like they were missing shots, airborne shots, like it was, So I think that they have talent, and I think they're going to have to kind of plug it out, so to speak, throughout this World Cup. But I actually believe in the USA, and I'm not going to be like some people who are not saying you, but some people out there in the media that they think, oh, we're just going to get destroyed coming up with bars. I'm going to believe in the country, and I'm going to believe they find a way, but I'm not going to say it's open. So what's your take on it?
Yeah. Me personally, man, I think they're in a good spot, man. I think that they have. I think considering Giannis is not playing, I think considering some of the stars of the teams that we're playing against that we can run up against, I just don't really see it being an issue. So I'm gonna go as high, as 9.
Okay.
I would be really surprised if they don't. Although, like Gilbert Arenas said, I'm not going to go as high as an F. But when you start to talk about these players at the positions that they're at, like outside of a Jaren Jackson, Anthony Edwards, and Tyrese Halliburton, like when you start naming off point guards, when you start naming off 2 guards, when you start naming off small forwards, how many people are you going to name before you get to some of the people that are playing? But at the same time, regardless of that, given the talent, you got a Mikal Bridges, who, when he got the ability and freedom to be able to shoot shots that he wanted to shoot, he showed you that he's all defensive team, a runner-up and defensive player of the year, and can get you 30. Then you got somebody like an Anthony Edwards, who Can when he's hot, he's hot. Ability to take you off the dribble, catch one bounce, get to the rim. You got a Paolo Banchero who's 6'10", 6'9", can grab a rebound, run a fast break, and pull up for three. Can get to the rim. Now, can we actually get those rebounds when you're playing Mikal Bridges, a Tyrese Halliburton, a Jalen Brunson, a Austin Reeves, Anthony Edwards, and then all you have is a Jaren Jackson or Paolo Banchero to be your fives? Can you get those rebounds? And that part for me is just more of an effort thing. It's an effort thing because if Draymond, Charles Barkley, and Dennis Rodman can be your rebound leaders and some of the greatest rebounders we've seen, like at some point it's just more about do you want it more than the person that's in front of you. And so for me, I think that we can get it done. We got enough bucket getters, defenders. Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges all played in college together, so there's a familiarity there. While being able to call each other out and uplift the team. I think you got a Tyrese Halliburton coming off an All-Star year, Jared Jackson coming off of a Defensive Player of the Year. So it's not like they don't have talent out there. It's just not the Stephs. It's just not the KDs, the Books, the Donovan Mitchells that you would have liked to see out there. But it is what it is. What the talent that we have out there, it's not an F, but I give it a C+.
Yeah.
And so
that's cool to me.
Go as high as a 9.
All right.
On that. And so I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't wait to see us out there, man.
Same.
Sticking with the NBA topic, bro. The Athletic has put out their tier lists. I wasn't able to see who was all the way in the tier with LeBron, but I did notice because they wanted your boy to pay that $5 for the subscription.
Yeah,
I don't watch the Athletic like that. I don't read the Athletic that way.
I noticed that too, man. I had to find through other sources, man.
And then I was like, I'm good. And they was like, you sure you don't want it for $2? I was like, maybe, but I'm gonna be mad if y'all if I do it for the $2 and then next month $5 comes to my account.
Yeah.
To get back to the topic, LeBron, according to the Athletic, is no longer in tier 1. They did tier 1A, tier 1B, and then there's tier 2, and then that's where LeBron was at. So it leads me to the question: did they get it right?
That is a great question. Well, I think in order to answer that question, Ralph, we just have to answer what do we both believe makes a tier 1 superstar or a tier 1 player, right? And I think a tier 1 player is someone who can lead their team through, carry their team offensively, right? Make an impact on the court in some form or fashion offensively, maybe carrying them through scoring, et cetera. Kind of like what we saw LeBron James be doing at Cleveland and Miami, early Lakers, pretty much everywhere he's gone, right? So it's the bubble, that's a tier 1 superstar. But I'll say this, I think he slowed down some defensively. I see that he's now he's functioning more as a free safety, which actually I thought he did a good job of doing in the playoffs. I think that allowing Anthony Davis to energize the team and kind of play through Anthony Davis is what they need to do because it worked before. And I think that he was playing, or should I say, I know that he was playing through surgically repaired foot, or a foot that required surgery, right? And had he not done that, he wouldn't have been jacking up as many threes. Let's be real. So I think that right now I'm going to, as much as I'm not a big LeBron fan, I'll be like, oh yeah, sure, he's tier 2. I'm gonna give LeBron the benefit of the doubt because he said that he's better than 95% of the NBA today. Now I kind of raised my eyes, but everyone seemed to believe that. And it's LeBron James, you gotta know who he is. So I'm like, all right, cool. I give him the benefit of the doubt, right? I don't want to sit here and name players. I think he's a fringe tier 1 star at this juncture. I think I like Jokic, Ralph. I think I like Giannis. I still like Steph. Luka is kind of there, but I still think he needs to prove it that next level, like Steph said on I think Gilbert's show. But I think LeBron's like a fringe tier one right now, and I think that what he does this upcoming season with an off season of rest and coming off that foot injury will determine for me personally. I don't know how you might feel. But I'm gonna say he's a fringe tier one right now.
And for me, man, like when you start to look at the tiers,
Yeah.
for me personally, I would take certain people out
Okay.
that were in certain tiers
Mm-hmm.
because
Cool too, I think. Go ahead, my bad. Sorry.
like if you take tier 1A is Giannis, Steph, Joker.
Right.
Tier 1B is Joel, KD, and Luka. Honestly, based on what I've seen, KD and Luka got to be in tier 2 with LeBron.
Yeah. Like yeah.
So when you look at it like that, look at what we saw last. Regardless of what it was, I don't like when people start using. I think with this generation, they get the benefit of the doubt of being injured, and then we're gonna make an excuse for them. If you're out there, you got to hoop. I don't care what you got going on with your life or with your body. You out there, you got to hoop. So based on what we saw last, LeBron does not look like the same LeBron. Yes, is he getting his numbers?
Oh, he always gets numbers, yeah.
But at the same time, look at his efficiency. Look at the way he's getting those numbers. It's not the same LeBron. So it's okay. And it's not a slight to him. Father Time is undefeated, bro. So
most of those fans that
right. So for us to look at that and be like, yo, we taking it as a slight, y'all. LeBron gonna come back, and LeBron is not getting 38-8 no more, bro. Like, he's just not gonna do that. Not for a whole season, and then it's gonna lead to wins. Yeah. At some point, he's gonna have to lean on some of those young guys, and that's okay. Because look at KD. You could argue KD's not the best player on his team.
You could argue that, definitely.
Although I do think he's still the best player on his team. But you can argue that because, one, look at his skill set. What he's able to do. You don't need the ball in KD's hand, which goes to what we talked about last week with KG. Let Book and Bradley Beal go out there. Them the young guys. Let them go around, run around, do all that running around, and let KD spot up and catch and react. And so I think that based on what we've seen from KD, Book outplayed KD in the playoffs. So you got to, although I still think that KD is a better player, you got to look at that. You can't ignore that and then still put him in tier 1. Yes, his skill set is tier 1, but what I've seen on the court is not tier 1.
Would you put? Oh, go ahead.
It's a Luka. You can't. You cannot be someone that they pick on offensively and then be considered a tier 1 player. There are two. You got to play both sides of the ball. Steph, I'll let him rock because Steph puts the effort into it. There's effort there, and also it's been shown when the Celtics tried to go out and pick on Steph. Steph held his own. There was moments where he got stops. There was moments where he got strips. There was moments where he caused turnovers. But Luka ain't giving that effort on the defensive end. And so for me, I'm just not ready to give Luka what everybody else gives him. Yes, he's an amazing offensive talent. But there's two sides of the ball.
Yeah. And
his team doesn't have what it takes in order for them to cover up that part. Because with Steph has always had a Clay, a Harrison Barnes, a KD on the weak side, a Draymond Green. He's always had defenders and Andre Iguodala. Like he's always had defenders around him to help those deficiencies when it comes to his defensive side. But Luka does not. Now, over time, Steph has got to a point where he's gotten so much more stronger while also being able to give that effort on the defensive end. So now we don't look at Steph as that defensive liability like we did 10 years ago.
Agreed.
Or even 5 years ago. And so for me, man, I'm just not ready to give Luka that benefit of the doubt and say, oh, well, he's this tier 1 player he's not there. He's in the same tier with Jason Tatum, in my personal opinion.
I agree with that because I think we had like a show where we kind of talked about that. I agree with you on that. I was about to ask you. I'm like, yeah, he's like in the same tier. I think they're trying to push him though. Like you feel it, don't you, Ralph? Like they're trying to push Luka to that. I'm like, girl, let it come naturally, man.
Right.
All right.
And so yeah, I think eventually, before the season, I want to do a tier like us, Juke Boys Sports Show tier, NBA tier. And keeping it NBA, they released their opening schedule or the 2023-2024 NBA season schedule. So what opening week matchup do you most look forward to? There's some good ones out there too.
Yeah, there's some good ones. I'm about to say all of them, but no. Because I didn't want to be so cliche and pick ones that everyone picked, but I'm like, you know what? Let me go with my head and my heart. It's basketball, right? By the time the season starts, Ralph, I'll probably want to watch them all. But I'm going to start off with I'll hit you with like 2 quick ones and swing your way. Let's go Lakers in Denver. Because I feel like there's actually real static there. I'm not even going to like hide it. There's real static there because you got to think about it from the perspective of they played in the Western Conference Finals. You have Nikola Jokic, the newly heralded best player in the world. And not only did they beat the Lakers, they beat them down 4-0. Now, some of those games were close, right? Or they were winnable for the Lakers, but they swept them 4-0. On top of that, Mike Malone during the championship parade ceremony, he mentioned here LeBron and the Lakers and LeBron being the sensitive being that he is, just being real. He posted on Instagram, he's like, I ain't even, I'm out here on a yacht or somewhere on vacation. And y'all mentioned my name, you know how LeBron be. So for someone who's supposed to like attention, but anyway, and then the whole Bruce Brown's no longer there, even though I think Christian Brown's going to step up, so I think that's going to be fine. But I think that's static, and on top of that, Ralph, it's ring night. So think about the Lakers are going to have additional incentive, and I do give Bron the Lakers this benefit of doubt. I believe he's going to have the troops ready. I do believe him as leader have the troops ready and be like, hey, look, we want to come out here, send a message. Anthony Davis, another underrated player here. He said he wanted to be a defensive player of the year, and now you have to play about at least 65 games. So I think this upcoming season, Ralph, he's going to try to play through some of those ticky-tack injuries, right? He never really had an injury that knocked him out. So I'm going to go with the Lakers on ring night for the Nuggets. And then the other one, real quick, I'm going to go with the Victor Wembanyama's debut because, like, all the hype and people talking crap about him in Summer League and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, bro, all he needs to do is come out here, block three shots, and people won't be like, oh, my goodness.
Right.
He's the flawless, man. He's the second coming. So that's what I got. What you got, man? I don't want to give you.
I think some good ones, man. Some ones that I'm kind of curious to see.
Yeah.
I want to see that Suns Lakers.
Yeah.
Just to see what that Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and KD look like up against a LeBron, an Anthony Davis, and those boys, because I think that it's one of those things where one is going to be depth for the Suns, while also can their bigs match other teams' bigs? Because what if even if you just ran a Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, who's 1 through 3 is going to be able to stop, or not stop, but be able to match with that
offensive output,
right? And the effort that Book has been given on the defensive end, I think the effort that Bradley Beal is going to end up giving on the defensive end, while also KD is.
So I think that we just lost Ralph, but we're going to wait for him to come back. We'll keep it going, keep the show going, and see if he can come back in. I think he's coming back in. Yeah. So he's back.
Click
yes.
Mouse. But KD has always showed that he was able to be a rim protector, weak side rim protector. And then DeAndre Ayton, what he showed playing for the Bahamas, can he translate that to the NBA game? Now, also, you sign a Bull. Can he step in in that 4 slot? Can he be a legit backup big? And those are the things for me that I'm curious as far as like on the Sun side. Then can Vanderbilt, can Austin Reeves take that next step? Can D'Lo make up for some of those deficiencies that showed up in the playoffs? And so I really want to see that matchup. And then they went to game 7 with bonkers. So
Yes.
can the Kings get to the next level?
Can
the Kings take it to another step so that Warriors Kings on the opening week? And so I'm really curious to see what happens with that one, because I think that one's going to be fireworks. Keegan Murray showing up for a second year. Can he take that next step? We've seen Davion Mitchell in these runs. I don't know if you've seen how he looks. He looks good. His offensive game, ability to finish at the rim, was what really stood out to me. He's always been a
good
defender.
Yeah.
Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, building that chemistry that they have. Sabonis. They brought back Harrison Barnes. Yeah. We'll see what happens with that, because when he's bad, he's terrible. No disrespect, bro. Like, I mean this in the most respectful way, bro. But like, he be so like when he's off, bro. Like,
that's why the Warriors got rid of him, man. They said give us KD instead.
And so
to give us Wiggins too, man.
And so, right. I want to see it, man. I got to see it out there, bro. I'm looking forward to it.
And also Frank Vogel, for your son's take, to bolster your son's take, Frank Vogel is going to instill a defensive identity too.
Yes, true.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm looking forward to those matchups. Can't wait for the NBA season. But NFL is starting to kick up. So before this season gets started, man, what quarterback is under the most pressure?
All right.
And since I let you rock, I'm going to kick it off first.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
We got a little bit extra time, so we could probably go a little more. We could go all the way to the 40 mark if you want to. But Russell Wilson, man, he showed up looking chunky. He didn't look confident in Nathaniel Hackett's offense. Russ always said, let him cook. And then stuff look unseasoned, bro. The chicken wasn't as dark as it should be. It wasn't crispy. The mashed potatoes, the potato salad had raisins in it. Like, it just was looking terrible, bro. It was all bad. Mm-hmm. And so I think Russell Wilson, man, when you get what's the coach over there now?
Sean Payton.
You get Sean Payton, who's a quarterback whisperer, quarterback guru, offensive guru. The Super Bowl, I think he won. Did he win multiple Super Bowls or just the one?
Just one with Drew Brees and 09. Yeah, they beat Peyton, the Darren Sharper one.
Yeah.
Why did I mention Darren Sharper? My bad, guy.
I don't know why. Of all the people on that team, Darren Sharper is the person. Mr.
Hold that L, Con.
Probably off of her champagne. She didn't know it. Mr. Man himself. But I think Russell Wilson, man, he's gotta come in and look better, look confident in that offense. There's a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. And so I think he's the one that is facing some of the most pressure. And for me, man, I'm tired of seeing it. Maybe I'm the only one that's realistic.
Okay.
When it comes to this stuff, or like notices this stuff, but like Justin Herbert got to show up, bro. I'm tired of hearing, oh, look at his arm and his hair and oh, look at the yards he's put up, and it's like when they were up by so many points against the Jaguars, he wasn't playing well. Mm-hmm. They just were up, and the defense was doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And so these are the things for me. It's like you got too much talent out there for you to just not be producing.
Right.
You have a top 20 running back, although I disagree with the 20 spot. But then you got Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, and now you got a Quentin Johnston.
And a defense.
And a defense with a Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James, JC. Like I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing it, bro. Like at some point, you got to produce, bro.
And a new OC.
Right.
And a contract. Some new money.
You got to get out. You got to get out there and show me, bro. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Justin.
And some new money, man. He got a lot of new money.
So go crazy, bro.
Yeah. I was good, real quick to piggyback on the Justin Herbert thing. I feel you. So when you say you not the only one, like I don't think any of us here hate Justin Herbert. I think so far from what we know, he seems like a cool, nice guy. Don't really talk. I think he has a talent, and we see it. And I get they really love Justin Herbert. Like shout out to our boy Tar. He's like, yeah, the quarterback guys, they really like him because he's their prototypical kind of guy in terms of the arm strength and all that. But when I'm looking at the roster, I'm like you, Ralph. I'm like, yo, like I'm gonna be real. I don't mean to be like go out the window with this, but like if you look at that team, you're like, they should win this freaking Super Bowl, man. He has everything, bro. Like most quarterbacks that young don't have everything. Like he has all the weapons to his disposal and a defense. Like you should win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, he could win a Super Bowl this year. But I'm gonna go. I had Russell Wilson. I'm just gonna go with my boy then. So I don't repeat the same thing you said. I'm gonna go with my boy Lamar Jackson. I got to because with great power comes responsibility.
I had him on the list. I wanted to let you cook on him. No.
Okay, yeah, because you had all the contract, stuff, and rightfully so. He finally got the contract. You get rid of the strength and conditioning coach, Steve Sanders, after we got ranked 32nd in the NFL. With the whole team died basically the last 2 years, man. We lost every major key player. Then you get rid of Greg Roman, who in your second season, but first full season as a starter, you had an MVP caliber season with, right? You're 45-16 as a starter in the regular season. And so now you need to take that next step in elevating in the playoffs, even though it's not always his fault for why they lose, right? But he takes his accountability. So and now with the money, the onus is going to be on him. Further, they go out and get a premier number one receiver, but not just a number one, any penny ante receiver. You get an Odell Beckham Jr., right? Someone who has Super Bowl, not just playoff, but Super Bowl experience, right? Something that I've been begging with on this show. You go out and you draft a first-round receiver in Zay Flowers, who many believe, and I believe myself, is the best receiver in that draft class to create separation, right? Then you bring in a Nelson Aguilar. You have Mark Andrews still there. You have the return of J.K. Dobbins. And then you have Todd Monken. So you get a new offensive coordinator who won a championship at Georgia, who's all about creating space, et cetera, et cetera. You traded for Roquan Smith last year. You get Ojabo back. So all these things, it's like things are kind of shaping up in Baltimore. And so the reason why I think we say he has something to prove is the last 2 seasons playing 12 games, he has to finish the season because the Ravens have always been in first place in the division, and then they lose it because Lamar winds up getting injured, right? So I think if he can get back to that clean bill of health that he had early in his career, he has the weapons, he has the money, and he has a chip on his shoulder. I think that he's, along with Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson, have something to prove. So that's my boy Lamar, and I believe he can do it. So yeah, we'll see.
One last person. I know we talked about Justin Fields, so I'm not going to harp on him. I think we've already talked enough about him having enough to prove. But Baker Mayfield, man, this is your last chance, bro. If you're going to show that you are a legit starter in this league, man, you got an opportunity. You still got a Mike Evans. You still got Godwin. And you have some other good pieces over there where you can show that you're capable. Now, can an offensive line protect for you? And I think that that's going to be one of those things. But I think that he's getting an opportunity to really show after seeing what we saw with the Rams where he looked competent.
Yeah.
So now he's going to get an opportunity to really show, can he be a legit NFL starter? Because if things go bad, take for Caleb. You take it for Caleb.
See, I thought you were gonna pull a Joy Taylor and be like, it's it's a complete disaster or letdown if the Browns don't make the playoffs this year. I'm like, man, in that division, like what?
I thought about putting some pressure on Deshaun, but I'm gonna let him rock this year. Now next year,
next year be different.
You got to produce something. I can't keep hearing you got to go out there and hoop.
Right, they're gonna have the pitchforks outside the stadium.
Tiki torches.
Right.
But Deion Sanders, man, comes out bold statement in this day and age. I don't really think it's that bold because I've honestly been hearing this as long as I've been in sports. If one of us fights, we all fight. Yeah. Is this good for team culture?
It's wonderful for team culture. It's all about incorporating the teammates that are not doing anything with the team and are on the sideline, right? You want to get them engaged. I call it teammate engagement, team chemistry. You know what I'm saying? So I actually like it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You know, nobody got harmed in the filming of that video, as they said. Right. So I think it's perfectly fine. And me and you, especially you know how we were brought up, we understand what he meant. Anyone who played in team sports, you know, and I'm glad that we had guys like I want to say it was like Harry Douglas was on TV and Dan Orlovsky was like, hey, we've been on teams, so we encourage this type of stuff, right? And I felt some type of way. Actually, Harry said when he was in Atlanta one time, he's like, I got into some type of fight. He's like, I would feel some type of way if one of my teammates didn't have my back when I'm fighting something, or you know what I'm saying? It strengthens the team unit, as they call it, you know. And Deion was like, all right, cool. He said a little speech and moved on and walked away. You know, so like I think some people out there will try to bloviate and put it out, take it out of context, you know what I'm saying, and stuff. Because I think with Deion, let's be real, Ralph, and I'll swing it to you, he's under a microscope this year. Because you know, me and you, we sense it. There's still people out there that want to see him fail. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they're like, oh, he needs to get them to be undefeated this year, you know, and all that. He did all that talking about transfers. Well, yeah, because he's supposed to. He wants to establish a winning culture, and I think he's been doing that so far in practice. So that's all I got, man.
And I agree, man. I'm 100%. I think this is good for team culture. I think that where we are in this day and age, I think some things can be like easily just taken way out of context, and it's like, bro, that's not how that was meant. Like, I mean, it was a Kevin Garnett quote that just was easily taken. It was like it was like he called by him saying that the younger players need to step up and that LeBron and KD need to come off the rock. They turned that and said he called them selfish. Yeah. And I was like, what? That's not what was said. Go on. I was like, bro, I'm so confused and like so frustrated with the media right now. So I'm like, this is good for team culture. We are a unit at the end of the day. And so if they fight one of us, they got to fight all of us. You should have your guys back because at the end of the day, it is us against the world at this point. We were 3 and whatever last year. Now we're trying to win and go and try to win a bowl game. They don't expect us to have that type of jump. They don't expect Shador to go get a Heisman. You got Travis Hunter, who could be an All-American on both sides of the ball. Like, you have the talent there, but it's like the way that it's going to be perceived and the way that team is going to be looked at, they're not expecting that team to have that crazy type of jump. Nobody goes from 3 and 10 or 3 and 11 or something along those lines to go all of a sudden now you're 10 and 3.
Yeah. I mean, if they do, he's in the Hall of Fame in the first year.
Right. And so I think like you got to establish a culture. He came in day one. Stop bringing Louis. Hit the transfer portal. Then he's made these brash statements. He's already sold out season tickets. The moves that he's been able to make, he's doing this on purpose. He's establishing a culture there. Now we can talk about the semantics and whether or not he should have did this with a HBCU, how long he should have stayed there, but he's here now, and this is what we're talking about. And so I think for me, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's good for the culture. I think it's good for team sports, especially a team type of sport, because when you get out there, the only people you got is you and your guys, you and your brothers. And so I think for team sports, man, And so, what we got left with the time that we got left, man, we got some quick hitters. First off, our boy, because we are both big fans of him.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the pivot. But Ryan Clark was out there on ESPN, and he said George Pickens is more talented, physically gifted than Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
I completely disagree, bro. I'm gonna go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, you seem ready for this. Energizing.
When you go and you look at the measurables,
mm-hmm.
It's a difference between like Randy Moss compared to Jerry Rice. Physically gifted, Randy Moss ran a 4.2, had a 40-inch vertical, was 6'4". I seen Randy have a 10-yard gap between him and the corner. He ran 5 yards and put his hand up and hadn't even closed the gap yet.
That's insane.
And caught the ball and ran past him and caught the ball for a touchdown.
As a dude still trying to catch up.
Yeah. And so, but then you got a Jerry Rice who is just going to break you down.
Technician.
With technique and route running. Yeah. And so I can see where if it was that type of stand, like a type of conversation we're having here. But Justin Jefferson is close in height. Maybe I think he might be an inch taller, honestly, than George Pickens. They're close in weight. They're 40 times they're close. I think George Pickens might have a higher vertical, but like it's not like the measurables are so far apart. At one point I had them in front of me, but I don't know what happened. I woke up on Tuesday morning and my notes that I had for Monday night was just gone.
Man.
Maybe Elena was out here playing on my laptop or playing on my iPad, but the measurables are so close to each other that it's not that far off. So I don't know where he's getting that opinion. I know he played for the Steelers, so maybe his bias is blinding him. Which is normally not something he does on the ESPN platform.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, I'm just gonna say I completely disagree.
Okay. Yeah. So interesting. This is very interesting. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna play the other side. When I actually initially heard it, I thought about it. I didn't do any type of research. So people are like, oh, well, we can move on to the next topic. No, but no, I say like I didn't research like their measurables per se because I think I had something in my own frame head of it only because like, well, what do you mean, Kyle? What are you talking about? Hold on, everyone. Being once again a Ravens fan, I knew about George Pickens because I was scouting George Pickens. I was actually scouting George Pickens. I mentioned this before in the draft. I said that I believe that he's going to haunt the Baltimore Ravens for not picking him. That doesn't mean that the Steelers are going to have like some, like 10-game win streak versus the Ravens for the next 10 years. No.
Right.
But we got Ojabo, and I was like, we could use a receiver. You know what I'm saying? Some weapons and resources for the quarterback who wants to, possibly like get paid. But anyway, and instead we get a Achilles Ojabo, and we continue with our defensive philosophy. But I think Ojabo will be ultimately fine. I thought that George Pickens, because of where he was drafted, Ralph, I was thinking about the talent-wise, and also, people were talking about like issues coming out of college and all that kind of stuff. So he'll slip in the draft. And I thought that talent-wise, I think talent and skill are two different things. Skill is something that you acquire and learn through repetition, right? Where talent is something that's just naturally born with. I know that George Pickens is 2 inches taller than Justin Jefferson. Jefferson is 6'1", so he's my height, and George Pickens is 6'3". But I think in height in football, that actually does matter. That 2 inches of difference can matter because you also have to think about the wingspan. Right. And I think just his catching ability his spectacular catch ability, is insane. Where I think that Justin Jefferson's just natural hands is cool, and I think his route running is better by far, right? Right. But I think that natural hands, I think that George Pickens could do some crazy like catches, like the catch he had that lost me a bet. On Thursday Night Football, man, when Mitchell Trubisky threw it, the bet was for everyone out there. It was Mitchell Trubisky won't have a pass longer than like 35 yards, bro. Second second drive, first play, second drive. This dude, 38-yard catch, man. George Pickens lays out. Man, I lost my bet. I was standing up eating. I was like, wait, what?
It's a heck of a catch, though. Like, if I'm going to lose on a bet, bro.
Yeah. So I'm not here to encourage betting people. Save your money, man. But so I'm just for the sake of it, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I didn't have too much of an issue with it. You know, I wasn't as hyped as you were on it, but I got to roll with my boy Pickens, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I drafted him in fantasy football last year, and I tried to keep him, but I don't think it's far off though. So
I think it is, but I just don't think it's as big a gap as he tried to make it seem. Like, making it seem like it was a Randy Moss and Jerry Rice type of situation.
Yeah, well, that's a Steeler bias. Yeah.
And that's the part where I'm like, nah, buddy. But Jonathan Taylor has been given the opportunity to seek a trade and see if there is value. So is this relationship fixable?
Well, he wants to trade now, so I guess not. No. I was like, I was looking it up because when I saw the trade news, like breaking news trade, 6 potential teams. I'm like, oh man, it's like that. But I think it's salvageable from for the Colts in terms of, hey, like, I'll listen to some offers for you. You know what I'm saying? It's sad that it went this way. I think, it is fixable if you pay him, honestly. Right. And all jokes aside, if you pay him, give him money, I think it's fixable. But they both need to come to terms and sit down, man to man, face to face, right? I wanted Jim Irsay to actually explain why he said what he said, the weird stuff that he was saying, right, to my face. And then also Jonathan Taylor needs to make sure, hey, I'm going to be professional. I'm going to do this. I'm going to show up, and see if you can hash out a deal with your, agent or whatever, that will accommodate both Taylor and the Colts organization, right? That's the first thing. Once you've exercised all possible avenues in the business perspective, if that doesn't work, then you explore trades. Because right now you have NFL executives, anonymous executives, that are putting out feelers and putting out offers, but they're really
anonymous executives, bro.
Bro,
I want to throw my phone when I see that.
Right, but long story short, they're putting out these offers, Ralph. But I'm looking at them, and they're doing it like intentionally, where it's like we don't want to actually give you anything high value,
right?
Because of the running back position. So that's it. So I think you got to work out a contract. You got a young quarterback too. You need him, right?
Right. And so to from one trade to another, Trey Lance has been moved down all the way to QB3.
You want to take the lead on that one?
They gave up a lot for him, and now it just leads me to the question of, are they going to be able to get anything for him? And this is the part for me where, like, to take a page out of Gilbert Arenas, and what he said about the whole James Harden situation is like, it's gonna be hard for them. They're gonna have to trade him for like a fifth pick or something, man. Like, it's gonna be hard to get something of like even close to a first round, a second round, because when you go out and you see the way he's played, my man tried to throw a screen pass and throws a terrible pick six.
Oh man,
like,
that's rough.
To go out there and he looks sporadic, he looks uncomfortable. Yeah. He just doesn't look ready. He looks like a project still 3 years later.
Yeah.
And so when you look at what they did, the players that they could have had, you could have had a Waddle. You could have had Justin Fields. Like, just think about some of these players that they passed up on to move up and get him. You could have had Kyle Pitts. Like these are just some people that you could have had on your team, and it's just like you gave up 2 first rounders to come get him, and he played 1 season of football.
And so you think it might not be? It's trending in the wrong direction. You're saying?
Yeah, there's 10 quarterbacks who last year alone have thrown more passes than he has thrown in high school, college, and the NFL.
Man, that's rough. That's rough, Ralph. Because like I remember when me and you were talking about this, when he was coming out, right?
Yeah.
We said the one concern, at least I know, we talked about was the lack of volume, lack of like starts, like play. we're like, it's kind of once you get to the league, you need to get to play, but at least go to an organization that would like, all right, develop you, and then you need those pre-senior reps, you need those training camp reps. And I still believe in the talent. Like, I'm not saying he was a Heisman coming out, but I'm like, he has the arm, he has the mobility, and he got hurt last year, so that kind of put him behind the 8 ball. So I feel like he's like 2 years away. But I'm also like not ready to give up on him, because I feel like if you give up on him, maybe you don't untap some of the potential that I still think is there. But once again, this is also coming from like, I'm not a football coordinator, scout, and all. You know what I'm saying? So like, what I might think, it really could maybe they know something that both me and you don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're already saying it's trending down. So I'm thinking like, if you go to a team, I don't want to say like, I'm like the Raiders, because you just said that he was throwing passes like to the bench or something. So maybe you don't want him.
Yeah.
But if you go to like someone who's going to use his mobility and arm strength, you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's still something there, because if Anthony Richardson is getting if Anthony Richardson is getting a look, I think Trey Lance can get a look. Even though Anthony Richardson is way more athletic, but he's still, he was sporadic.
He's 6'5", 250.
That's true.
He runs a 4.4.
Yeah, that's true.
And he could throw a ball jumping 60 yards.
Yeah.
That
maybe
for things that I'll see if I can turn that into something.
Send Trey to Tampa. I mean, because I don't think he'll have any pressure right now, because he'll be rebuilding.
Honestly, I think with Trey, you need to send him somewhere where he can sit.
That's the problem. And I'm like, where can he go where he can sit?
He can sit in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's true. And he would have a bunch of weapons if anything happened to Kirk.
Right.
If you fail there, then maybe football ain't for you, man.
Right. You can sit behind Kirk for 2 years.
Fair enough. Like
this year, next year, by 2025, 2026, go crazy, bro.
All right.
And I don't know, bro. But next up, Aces lose at home, finally. 21 games snapped by the LA Sparks.
Yeah. Asia Wilson had 53 points. So if I had, you know that scene in Men in Black?
I ain't got no words.
Right?
I ain't got no words. 53?
Oh, man. Hey, I was going to say, hey, Ralph and guys, you guys know the scene when Will Smith and Men in Black? Hey, this didn't happen. That 21, that home loss never happened. Click up because Asia had 53. She had 53 the next game, man.
Look at this light right here.
This light right here. Hey, I'm gonna start using that just like the Ravens in the preseason streak. Oh, it never broke. It was a mirage.
Right.
Becky said it. Becky, I think she said something about it was like not a trap game, but it was kind of like a let up game or something because like what happened before then. Right. But then Becky's still old school. She's like, but it shouldn't have happened. You know how Becky be. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's gonna be interesting. I wonder where the Aces' mental state is throughout the season. But I also think that. I'm gonna be real. I think they might be looking ahead still too. Yeah. I mean, the Sparks aren't a bad team, and they can lose. It happens. All streaks end. So I'm not gonna look too much into it. But I still think that they, I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of thinking more about some other team out there than just the regular season. So I'm not too worried about it though.
But thank you all for watching. You see the little ticker at the bottom. Make sure you follow me at KYNG or ALPH on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, add an underscore for Twitter. You can catch me on Threads too, at the same as well. I just hopped on there for unbiased breakdown and analysis on Instagram at v.houseofhoops. Like and subscribe on YouTube at j.u.k. media. You can catch the sports show as well on Instagram at j.u.k. sports show on Facebook. The He Say, She Say channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, let us know things you want us to talk about. And we got to get up out of here, man. It was a great show. Catch us next week. Continuing. We will be going live at 7 on Wednesday nights and most likely 7 on Fridays, but we might end up just going having an earlier time to avoid the conflict between people being out at night or
Yeah.
necessarily watching TV at night. So we'll probably have a 7 p.m. show on Wednesday night and keep our 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock show on Friday. But thank you all for watching. We out of here.
Peace.
Peace.